War 5 against the X-Men. X-Men Apocalypse, who we're up against for War number 5 of Season 24. And we've just got one change from last war. We're swapping out Warlock for Omega Red. Omega's back, baby. And we have 7 fights this war. The first one is a fight we took earlier this season. It's Obsidian on Path 3. So nothing special here. This fight can be done by just about anyone. So we're just going to let the spores do the work, as always. So you see, even without Sabertooth, we're stacking up spores pretty nicely, keeping above 10, which is what we want to get big damage out of Omega Red. There we go, he goes down. Only losing 4% health that fight, which is nice. Now next we have a Sentinel, who I was originally going to bring a Magneto for actually, but we need a Magneto in a queue for our can't stop, won't stop path. So we're going to go in with Doom. And I did keep suicides on because at this point in the war, this was the only fight I'd actually planned to use Doom for. So it didn't matter if we had suicides on or not. But we will actually end up using Doom later on. So I'm going to stick primarily to medium, light, heavy combos because that just minimizes the amount of analysis we get. Sentinel gets. You see, our heavy actually triggered Protect with suicides on, which is surprising for me, since Doom isn't typically using suicides during war. I think this guy was actually running suicides. So he was taking, I think he took some recoil damage from his special one. But anyway, one special 3 into special 1 is pretty much going to do the trick. Almost. Oh, it's a bait special 2. We'll hit things down. And then we were going to take, well, we could have taken this Apocalypse with Doom, but we took it with someone's Warlock instead. So now we actually have our first Mixmaster Korg of the season. For those of you who do high tier war, you'll know Korg is pretty much the most common defender you'll see, and we haven't actually seen him this season yet, but here he is. Omega's pretty much a perfect counter to this fight because he can, at 10 spores, prevent Korg's tenacity, and also all of Omega's attacks won't receive any Thorns damage. So we actually go to the last little intercept there to build a few spores up. We're already at 10. Mistimed our combo a bit there, so we evaded, but it's all good. We should have thrown a heavy there. I didn't, I was a bit greedy, and we ended up having to bait the special 1, so we lost about 10 spores there, which we could have definitely avoided. But you can see he's absolutely melting right now. It's only a 5-star Korg against our 6-star Omega Red. And you'll notice we actually started the fight with 96% health, and we finished the fight with 98% health, so we actually gained health that fight. That's how ridiculously easy that was. So, the end of section 1, we've got a pretty commanding lead. We've only died twice out of 84 fights, and they've died 16 times in their 69 fights. So on to section 2. We'll be taking Shitness Thorn's Colossus, of course, with Omega Red. I think at this point we'd turn suicides off. because I realised I'll need Doom for the next fight. But it really doesn't have an effect on this fight since we'll be getting bleeds on us anyway. So we can stack up our spores. We didn't actually... I actually forgot to boost this fight, but it turns out we really didn't need to. It's basically like an arena fight for a Mega Red. Very, very little risk here. There we go, he goes down. And next up was a very interesting fight. And one that I definitely overestimated how easy it would be. So it's a Nova on the Strike Combat Power Rate shared fight, which we did take a couple wars ago. We finished off with Magneto. And after this fight, I'm definitely much more comfortable using Magneto for this fight. So we are going to be very careful with our combos to try and minimize the amount of power suppression charges we get. And unfortunately we did a special one there, definitely not the plan. Throw a special one to reset the charges. We've already got 3 on us, which is not a great start. But we've got our aura up so we can steal some power. We're going to try and get back to a special one. Not playing very nicely. And we get a 4th and a 5th suppression charge on us now. And a 6th. But we've got a decent amount of power now. We can build to a special 2. Actually, it's after this one. Yep, now we can build to a special 2. After stealing his power. But you see, we're not really gaining that much power ourselves. I mean, it's going to be tricky to steal his power if we get low on power ourselves. So up to 7 now. And at this point, he has 2 bars of power. We have pretty much no way of gaining power. So in hindsight, I really should have baited a special. But I thought, oh, you know, I'll get back to 1 bar of power, which is definitely not how that goes here. We go for pretty much a full combo. And at this point I just realised, oh, I'm not getting back to a bar of power. And luckily, very luckily, we chain into a final heavy that crits and it takes him out. I'm pretty sure we would have survived a special 3, but I didn't want to take the risk. And luckily, very luckily, that last hit crit. So into section 2, we've only died 4 times out of 108 fights. They've done 20 more fights and they've died 30 more times. So still got a very commanding lead. So now onto the mini boss island. We've got the same 2 minis as we had last war. The first one being Vigorous Assault. And this time we've got a Sasquatch. And this was a very interesting fight. You saw a preview of this fight at the start. I definitely underestimated this guy's regeneration, even on a 5-star. So I definitely, I boosted big because I wasn't running suicides, because I was fighting a void next and I didn't want suicides on. But it turns out we really need suicides on for this fight to get the damage output we need to bypass his regeneration. Not to bypass it, but just to overcome the regeneration. Because on this node, he has enhanced regeneration by 200%. So once he gets below that 40% threshold, he's going to be regenerating a lot of health. And without suicides, you'll see it's barely enough for us to keep up with damage-wise. So you can see in this first, I guess, cycle of Wrath, he's got up to 9 charge and he still hasn't triggered it, so I was very surprised. And he still hasn't triggered it up to 10, and I wanted to wait it out because obviously at 11 now, we're not hitting very hard because each stack reduces our damage output. And he finally gets it when he gets to 13, which is, I think, the highest I've ever seen before it's triggered. Now we're just going to pretty much wait out Wrath. We get into the corner. We're just going to bait out the special attacks and just play a little Quake style in the corner, which works fine. Don't lose that much health. And we throw a special 3 to see how much damage it does, and we'll also place the Incinerate debuff on him. But you can see once we start hitting him, and those regeneration stacks start appearing, he's regenerating for a lot. And it's barely enough for us to keep up with. We can keep up with it, but we still have to do that while bait out special attacks. And you see here we go for a full combo into a special 2, but really it triggered Protect, and that wasn't enough to kill him. So that gets into a special 3. If we had suicides on that, we could have definitely killed him, but unfortunately we eat a special 3, and now he regenerates back up to over 70% health. You'll see. Yeah. And at this point I was really scared that we'd time out, because I wasn't sure if we'd be able to actually get the damage output to finish him off. I was considering dropping below 50% health for courage range, but I was really panicking at this point, and we ended up, getting parried at some point and intercepted, because I was just really panicking. I was panicking enough to throw a special 3 out when we shouldn't have really. Because I figured at this point the only way we have a chance at finishing him off is with a special 3. So yeah, we get parried there, and we go in for another attack and we get intercepted while he's in Wrath. So now we get back into the corner almost. And I'm really panicking right now. This should have been an easy fight for us. But I didn't realise how much we really needed suicides for this fight. So we're gonna, at this point, I thought, yeah, we just have to go for it. We have to go super aggressive. Go for every possible attack. And we're just gonna try and finish him off with a special 3. Getting down to 14% and then 10% into a special 3. Really wasn't sure if this would finish him off or not. And you see the hits getting down to 2%, and very luckily the extra heat damage finishes him off. So yeah, very stressful fight near the end there, but we got through it. And then finally we have our 5th hazard shift fight for the season. And it's the first time we were fighting a void here, which was the reason why I turned suicides off, so that we wouldn't have to deal with void's fun and interactive damage when you have a debuff on you. So going with Red Hulk, we're going to get max heat charges pretty much straight away after a few combos. And I was very lucky to realise that this guy had suicides on. So it's basically a free fight for us now. We have to slip up really bad to lose this one now. And it is a bit trickier fighting voids in war compared to solo content, because you have less teammates. So the window that you have to transfer the degen or the debuff is quite a bit less because you have less teammates. But you can see 20 hits him and he's almost down. We're just smashing through this guy while also keeping on top of the Bane transfers. And there we go, a couple hits into a block and he's down. So those are all our fights for this war. We ended up soloing all of them, fortunately. We ended up winning the war pretty comfortably. They had only 142 diversity, which was 8 less than our max diversity. We ended up dying 12 times, they died 60 times in the end. And I actually got MVP again, which was surprising. Actually, all 3 of the MVPs were from BG3, so shout out to BG3, you guys rock. And we're 4th in Platinum 2 now, so hopefully back in Platinum 1 by next war. Alright, anyway guys, I'll see you guys in the next war.